Our political specialist, Sean Boyd. So, Sean, do you think that we will know a winner of the presidential election tomorrow?
Maybe, Jim, is the short answer. There is a lot in play. A record number of mail ballots combined with a tightening of the race in key swing states, and then throw in litigation by both parties. Here's what you need to know just hours before an election unlike any other. Regardless of who wins, the 2020 election is already historic as more people than ever vote by mail because of the pandemic. That alone creates delays. Mail ballots require signature verification. But on top of that, many states are accepting ballots after Election Day.
I just worry that these states that have gone headlong into a mail ballot process, having never had the experience of it, are not going to have the safeguards, the procedures that we have in Colorado. And that invites chaos. Now, I don't know that there's going to be rampant fraud, but I do know this, that there's going to be rampant chaos, I think, if the election is close. And that's going to invite court battles.
Which adds to the delays. But CBS 4 Republican analyst Dick Wadham says there is a chance it could be an early night.
The first domino to fall will be Florida.
Wadham says if Trump loses Florida, he loses the race. Georgia, North Carolina, Ohio, and Pennsylvania also must wins for Trump. All but Pennsylvania will have most of the vote counted shortly after polls close. But if it's close in any one of those states, it could take another day or longer before we know who won. Pennsylvania won't even start counting votes until Election Day and is accepting ballots for 3 days after the election. So if it comes down to Pennsylvania, be prepared to wait. And Wadham says there's a good chance it could.
I think there will be some court actions filed by both sides after the election if this thing is close. And I think it's going to be.
It's nice to speculate right now. I hope we're not speculating on Wednesday morning.
Well, it could be days before we know who won the presidency. It could be months before we know which party controls the U.S. Senate. 2 of the Senate seats up for grabs are in Georgia, where if no candidate gets more than 50% of the vote, a runoff between the top 2 vote getters will take place the beginning of January. Fortunately, here in Colorado, I suspect we will know the winners of both our Senate and presidential races by 8 or 9 o'clock, unless they end up being closer, which then it would be later in the night, but I don't think it's going to go to the next day.
Yeah, Sean, you mentioned with so many people voting early, voting by mail, 2 weeks ahead of the election, we start counting those ballots?
And there are a lot of states that do, but, you know, a lot of these states are new to this mail ballot process, and so Pennsylvania is a big one. They don't start until tomorrow. They'll start counting.
All right, thanks.
Well, Denver preparing for protests and destruction following the election. Colorado State Capitol surrounded by fencing. The building suffered damage earlier this year from the protests. State Patrol protects the Capitol, and it says our top priority has and will remain the protection of life. That includes the general public, those protesting, people working in the Capitol, or that of our members. CBS 4's Tori Mason joins us in downtown tonight. And Tori, businesses are also boarding up.
They are, but Public Safety Director Murphy Robinson says there haven't been any credible threats regarding Election Day, but there are signs people are on edge. And if you can see by the looks of it, a lot of business owners are on edge too. But some are still hopeful people won't take the results of Election Day out on them.
We have protection plans in place. Our continuity government plans are in place.
Several businesses have their own plans as well. Dozens of glass storefronts are being boarded up as the ballots roll in.
Is there a tsunami coming I wasn't aware of?
Rita Price watched her neighbors hammer in their precautions last Thursday.
It made me really sad, and sad for our country and where we're at.
Despite her bar getting damaged during summer protests, Rita has no plans for plywood.
Maybe I'm an idiot, but I believe that people want to do the right thing, and I think putting up things that are saying I know you're not going to is just doesn't help.
There's less faith in humanity down the road. Public Safety Director Murphy Robinson says they're prepared for anything, and this time they have practice.
We've learned quite a bit in the last 8 months about how to respond to such issues.
Small business owners like Price hope there won't be any violence to respond to.
I really believe in people's right to protest, and I don't have a problem with that at all, but I just think that kind of planning for the worst isn't always the best solution.
So while Rita's Law isn't boarding up tomorrow, they are closing to allow its employees time to vote. But Rita invites everyone to drink away their election feelings at her bar on Wednesday. So Murphy Robinson told us last week that he knows of 2 planned protests, and those should come with about a couple thousand people each. But it's the protest leaders who aren't coordinating with him that are always the concern. We're live in Denver. Tori Mason covering Colorado First.